Hello, everybody out there. Hey, you're seeing a big blue screen here, aren't you? I'm going to do something a little different, and I'm going to be using this video on this group and my other group. And it looks like I'm going to be having issues again today, like I did last week, although it looked like it showed up okay. It keeps bopping out on me here. Anyway, this is my gift. I'm going to teach you how to do a painting over several days, and I'm going to use the video in both groups. So what I've done here is I've done a basic sky background, starting with ultramarine blue and my turquoise deep. And I mixed them together and I added some white, and I came down, okay, and then I added some more white, and I came down some more and more white. The whole goal is to be darker up here than it is down here. I'm going to turn my camera down just a little more. There, okay. Can you see that a little better maybe? Okay. So now we're going to put a branch in here. The goal is we're going to put a branch and then work with some, like a pine tree. So right now I have a bristle brush. This is a natural bristle brush. And I forgot to get a paper towel to work with. Tapping it in the water, tapping it off on the paper towel. I don't want it sopping wet, but it has to have some moisture in it to pick up the paint. Okay, now, so I'm working over here on my palette. I'm picking up some, man, my brain is going dead today. I had a really rough migraine earlier today, so I'm not necessarily thinking great. The burnt umber and burnt sienna, I'm mixing those two colors together, and I'm adding a little bit of white. I'm going to add some blue to that to darken it down. There we go. I think I like that. Now I'm going to show you two different ways. Here is with the bristle brush, okay? I'm off the side and I'm pushing. Can you see I'm pushing hard on those bristles? And I don't care that they wiggle. I want them to actually wiggle. And now I'm turning the brush, and now I'm lifting up on the edge of the brush. So I started out very dark, wide down here, and you can see that right there is about where I changed the brush to this orientation. And as I came to the edge, I lifted up the brush. Okay, now if you can, hopefully you can see that there are marks in there. Looks like bark, tree bark, okay? So now I'm going to rinse that brush. I'm just showing you two methods. You don't have to do it this way. I'm just showing you what you can do with two different kinds of brushes. Now this is a synthetic flat, okay? Tap it in the water, tap it off on the paper towel, and I'm going back to that same paint. I'm going to add a little bit more of the burnt umber to it. Now I'm going to start up here in this part of the branch. And I'm pushing, and now well, I turned too fast. I kind of ran out of paint there. Okay, so I'm still now I'm going to turn, and I'm up on the corner there. So now I have two branches. This one here is rough right in there, which I'm not going to fix that. I like it. And I'm going to add another one down in here. And I'm going to add something else up over here. I'm on the pointy edge of the brush. You don't want it to be too smooth. You can also add something in here. I'm up on the pointed edge right there, okay? All right, so now I'm not going to clean my brush. I'm picking up some of my, oh, my brain. It's green. And for whatever reason, I just cannot. It's a green, okay? Man, my brain is really shot today. Okay, so now I've got my brush loaded. I just added some green to the brown mix that I have. I just mixed it right on top of that. And now I'm working with this brush, and I'm just going to, okay, you don't want them to all go in the same direction. You need them to kind of cross over each other. And see how some come out this way and some come this way? The angle does not and should not be the same. And off of this one here will be sort of covered up. Maybe I should do this one first, get some small ones there. See, I'm just putting in some pine branches there. Okay, so that's all this is. Okay, so now it just depends on, if I push hard, I get a thicker. If I push light, very light pressure. And you want to be up on the branch. You don't want to, okay, see, that doesn't look right. So you need to have some that are on the bark as well. And they need to go in different directions. Otherwise, they look very flat. I'm going to put a few, picking up a little more paint, put a few in here. They need to kind of follow the shape of your branch. Okay. I'm going to come back and do some in here. We're going to make a couple of passes on this because we want, you know, I harp on values. Well, at this point, we're only getting one value. We're only getting one because I haven't mixed any other color to that. All I'm doing to get some depth is moving my brush at different angles. Sometimes it's coming straight down, sometimes it's going to cross over those. And these back here, there can be some really long ones in this because this is the thickest part of the tree. And I'm going to move my brush around. I don't like to work in one place to the end. It kind of gets, you start to make them look like soldiers, like this, okay? And that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for something that has some depth. So I'm going to move my brush around, move it in different places. Got to get some of that over on the branch. Some of these are going to be, I love the length of them. Okay, so that's fairly decent. Now I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to my green mixture over here, and now I'm going to add a little bit of white to that. And at some point, you know, I have it too light, so then I might add some more green. All of a sudden, the color that you're looking for will just kind of show up, and you go, oh, that's it, stop. So here we go. We're going to start putting another color on it. I'm not putting as many. I'm just trying to add a little bit of depth in there. And then we'll do it a third time. And that'll give us the 3 values. You know, I say this all the time. You need at least 3 values of anything you're painting for it to not look flat. So if your painting to you looks flat, And I always said, you know, in my early days, it looks amateurish. Well, and that is almost all the issue. You don't have enough values in there to create some depth, some distance. Okay, so see how much different that looks now that it's got those two values in there. Okay, well now I'm going to add some more white to that, and I'm going to pick up some more of that turquoise deep, because this is kind of a oh my gosh, my brain has just a blue spruce is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so here comes another, and I'm not going to put nearly as many of those. My phone keeps stopping and saying it's trying to reconnect, so I'm hoping that you're seeing this okay. Okay, so see how this way you can see, if you study it, you can see all three layers, all three colors, all three values that I'm using. And again, in different directions, I'm kind of hopping and skipping around. I'm not going straight down the branch. You want to make sure you get some in different directions. That gives you some interest and some depth. So this is a lesson on how to paint a pine branch, but also on the need for values. There. Now I'm real happy with how this looks. You can see all the various, the depth of the sky gives you some depth also because it's darker up here, it's lighter down here. We created some depth perception that way. We created some depth perception. And see how, remember how imperfect this branch was? And as we put the pine needles on it, it just doesn't matter. Okay, it's fine. Don't stress over having the perfect branch. It looks like a perfect branch there now, doesn't it? So that's always my stress, that the under part is not perfect. Sometimes if the under part is too perfect, then your painting looks a little stiff and a little dry. Let's see a place right there where I could use a few more. When you back up and look at it, you might see a place or two where it needs to have some more depth, something crossing. You can add another layer. You know, you need a minimum of 3. You can have 4, 5. And I'm just barely putting any in on this one. I just add a little bit of white to my mix, and I'm just lightly throwing in a few more needles. And again, in different directions. They're not all going the same way. But this is kind of like a value study. But we're going to turn it into something really fun this week as we go along. Okay, so tune in. Check us out every day, and as we add to this. So you can see even just adding that 4th layer, you know, what that does. So anyway, thank you that this has been helpful to you. I would love to see your branches, and then we'll just continue to build on this particular painting. Now, this is just watercolor paper, 140 pound, and it's on here on a masonite board, which doesn't matter what you put it on, with painter's tape. Now, I will leave it on here until we're done, and then I will leave it on here for another 12 hours for it to completely dry. You might be able to see there's a little warp right there, there's a little warp right here, and there's something right here. If we let it dry completely taped to the board, it will dry flat. But if we take it off, it's going to dry with a warp in it. So we're just going to leave it on here. We're going to work on here every day. And then we'll carefully. Thank you so much. I hope that this has been fun for you. Oh, Debbie says there's no sound. Well, I've got my microphone on. Is there any sound there, Debbie? I see that you said there's no sound. Well, now I don't know how to fix that. Anyway, well, I'll talk you through it, or I'll write the directions down. Hopefully you saw what I was doing, though. So we'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, I thought I'd hop in here today. I didn't make it yesterday. I was getting my eyes tested again and new glasses ordered. I'm going to add an ornament or two to our branch. So I have, this is just, it's a gray palette paper. And so I have a cad medium orange, cad red light, ultramarine blue, dioxazine purple, alizarin crimson, and white. And I know I need those colors, so that's why I only have them. I didn't get a full palette out. Okay, so here comes, I got out a piece of soft bind charcoal, and I'm going to add the ornament. I'm going to add it right here. Let's see. Very light pressure when you're using soft bind charcoal. You can always get it off, but it's much easier to get off if you go light. Okay, I've tapped my brush in the water. I'm tapping it off on the paper towel. This way it kind of lets me pull this over so you can see what I'm actually doing. Okay, so I'm going to do a red ornament. It works really well with the green and the blue. Red is on the opposite side of the color wheel from green, so these are complements, so they'll work together well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this. I'm just pulling some off. I'm not trying to mix this whole pile. I'm just pulling some off over here. Now, I'm going to go ahead, maybe add just a touch of white to that. I don't want it pink, but I want it opaque. This is very transparent, and I need this little bit of white to make it opaque. Okay, so here comes, we're going to come around here like this, and we're going to let the brush do the work. In that we're going to paint in the shape of the ornament. Okay, so here comes this over here, this side. And then the only one that should be straight anything is this one right here. And the rest of them should be curved. Okay? Now, at this point, you can kind of fix the shape. If, like right here, I got kind of a flat spot. So I'm going to fix that. Now, you can draw around something if you're not confident that you can get a decent round shape. But in reality, it really just doesn't matter that much. But that's totally up to you. Okay, so I see right here, there's a little place that's a little too flat. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to take my orange and I'm going to add, this is the orange light, I'm adding it to my red. So now my light, I think we decided last time my light's over here. So this side of the ball of the ornament will be lighter. So I'm going to come up here. I'm up here on the point of my brush, and I'm going to bring it down. Okay, now I'm going to add some of this cad red to that same mix. Added a little bit more of the alizarin crimson right there. Okay, so here comes this part. And now I'm going to pinch wipe, and what that means is I'm putting it in my paper towel, pinching it off. I'm not going to rinse it. I'm going to add a little bit of purple to my red over here. Okay. I'm trying to make this side darker, but I want it to blend. My brush is a little dry. I'm tapping it just barely in the water, tapping it off on the paper towel. And now I'm going to bring it back in here and get, there we go, got a little fluid going on. Okay. Okay, so now I want to pick up some more of the orange. Okay. And I'm going to come back in here on this side. I'm even going to add a touch of white. And see, when I say a touch, that's all I mean, just a little bit. And I'm working in very little paint here because I don't need much. I don't need to, you know, fix up a whole pile of paint. I don't need it. So here comes my light side. There, we're going to get some reflection on that ball. Now this part of the ball would be sticking out further, so it would pick up some of that light also. Okay? All right, now I'm going to rinse that brush because I'm kind of done with that. I rinse it, I pull it through the paper towel, I put it in my brush holder. Now I'm going to get out, this is a round brush. And now I want to make the little doohickey. How about that? I want to make the doohickey. So I'm using blue. I need gray and orange. Again, they're opposites on the color wheel. And I'm going to add some white. White's the great equalizer. It lets you know what you have. Okay, so that looks, look at it's kind of blending in with the palette paper. Okay, so the little doohickey thing has like 3 pieces, and I'm just giving myself a place here. Here's 1, here's 2, and here's 3. Okay, I'm just getting started, and so then this part comes up, and I come back down to this one over here. Got a little carried away there. One thing about acrylic paint is you can kind of take it off with your finger if you need to. Okay, so here comes this round part. I'm going to pick up a little bit. See, I don't need much paint, so there's no point in mixing a huge big thing when I just need this little bit. Okay, so there's that part there. Now I'm going to rinse that a little bit, and I'm going to pick up my script liner brush. Okay, I put it in the water. Anytime you're using a script liner, your paint needs to be thinner than normal paint. So I didn't wipe my brush off. I didn't tap it off. I put it in the water, and then I put it over here in the paint, and I'm rolling the brush in the paint. See how it rolls there? You can't pick up paint with a script liner when you do this. Okay, it needs to roll in the paint. Okay, so now I'm going to come up here at the top of this little guy, and I'm going, where do we want to hook it on this branch or this branch? I'm going to go with that branch right there, just so I can show you how it works better maybe, okay? Okay, so here I am. I'm going to come up, and I'm going to go over. Okay, and now I need to come down behind the branch. There. Okay, so you lose it right there because it's behind the branch. Okay, this looks very flat, doesn't it? And it's flat because it's all one color. I'm picking back up my round brush. I'm going to add a little more white to my gray mix here. And see, I'm just pulling some off because this is very liquid now. It's got a lot of water in it. I don't want all that water. I'm going to throw in a little more blue and a little bit of this orange. I'm going to try to make another gray that's thicker than that. And that's really all you need for a project like this. You don't need a big pile of paint. Just need a little bit. Okay, so we can do a couple of things here. We can make this side a little darker. Okay. We can also, I'm going to, right here, there's some purple, and here's some blue. I'm even going to add some red to that. I want to make a dark color. I could have, if I had my full palette here, I'd work maybe in some turquoise, but I don't have those paints sitting here right now. So I'm just trying to make the darkest I can make with what I have here on my palette. I just want to make a couple of little things here. There. Okay, I like that. And now I'm going to rinse that off because I want all that paint out of there. And I'm going to come back to my mix right here. I'm going to add some more white to this mix. And I want to highlight this side of the hook. Okay, and then something maybe up in here a little bit. And then I can come back up here with my, see how when acrylic paint dries, it dries darker, so you can barely see that. I'm using my baby finger to steady my hand, and I'm going to come back in here. I'm just going to put a few little, very carefully. I'm doing it very light, so I might have to do it 2 or 3 times to actually see. There we go. Okay, you can see it now. And that's where it goes behind the branch. And here, it's on this side of the branch. So it kind of looks like it's shiny. I'm going to add a little more white to this mix here. I'm going to pick up some of this water. See, it's real watery there. I need a little more moisture in my brush. I'm going to pick some of that up. Okay, so I want to even get, see, as acrylic paint dries, it gets darker. So you might have to go over it 2 or 3 times to get the effect you're looking for. There you go. Now you can, whoops, sorry. You can, if you wanted to paint a name or like a word that said joy or peace or something like that on there, but I can see in my screen that the ball has a real good reflective glow right there. I wouldn't come back with white. If I wanted it to make it lighter, I would actually come back with that same mix that I have here and maybe even add a little more orange and a little more white. Okay, so you can see the values. This is what I harp on all the time. These are the values that we need, okay? So I'm up on the point end of the brush right there, okay? And now I'm just gonna swipe it down a little bit. There, just a little, and maybe here. There we go, okay? So now it gets that nice glow. We've got a darker side over here. Our little hook thing is going up on the other side of the branch and coming back down. So you could do any shape. There's some really interesting old glass ornaments that you could go, a star shape or a pear shape, or just a lot of different colors in this kind of ornament. So today we got the ornament on, And then tomorrow, well, maybe Monday. Monday we'll do it. Monday we'll put the snow on the branch. Okay? So thank you so much for being here. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And let's paint together real soon. Hello, everybody out there. Today is the last day of our painting that we're doing here, and it's the branch, the pine branch. And last time we added an ornament, and this time we're going to add some snow. And I guess you see these colors that I have here, and you're probably thinking those aren't very snowy colors, Sharon. Well, they will be. I'm going to take my brush, I'm adding it, tapping it in the water, tapping it off on the paper towel. Now, snow, nothing that is white is actually white. So I'm going to take this purple, it's dioxazine purple. I'm going to pull it over here in front of what I'm doing so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, I've just got a little bit on my brush. I'm going to pull it over here, and I'm going to add some white to it. My snow in every painting underneath is purple. So I'm going to move this over here. Hopefully you can still see it, but I'll bring it back when you need to. Okay, so we've got a branch here, and we're going to put some snow on it. So there'll be some snow down in here. I'm just tapping. There'll be, where the branches come together, there's always some snow. Down here, there'll always be some, like around this little ornament. I'm going to put some on the ornament. And I'll put some in here. Turn your brush over. You've got paint on both sides. I'm going to move this again, see what else. I'm just picking up a little more paint. I don't want it covered in snow, but I want there to be enough that you know it's snow. Okay, so here comes this. And I think I'm going to put a little more in here. And some up in this part of the branch. That's a really thick part of the branch there. Okay, I think we have enough. So now I'm going to bring my palette paper back, and this is just gray palette paper. I'm going to pick up some more white, add it to the purple that I already have on my palette paper. See, right there? That's what I did the first time. Now this is the second time. So I'm going to start about where I started before, and I'm going to tap very lightly on top of that purple, but I want the purple to still show through. And I never, I don't just start at one end and go all the way down on anything. I'm always moving around. Just picking up more paint here. And I'm tapping much lighter than I did on the first time. I could actually put some in here. There we go. And anywhere I had some purple snow, I'm going to lighten it up a little now. And I'm just barely tapping. Flip the brush over because you've got paint on both sides. Okay, so that's 2 passes through. So now I've got some more white paint here. I'm picking up some more, and I'm going to put it in with the purple on the edge. So now you see I've got 3 values there, okay? I'm going to come back over here and look at this. This part down here, I would leave that darker, and I would try to lighten this part up. You have to be very light on your tapping here. Otherwise, you'll get something that looks like soldiers marching across there. And you really don't want that. I'm gonna lighten that up just a little more right in here on the edge. See how that lightens that up right there? Okay. Now, I've got some light here that I just pulled off. I'm going to take just the tiniest bit. When I say a tiny bit, that's what I'm talking about there. Can you see that right there on the end, there is the tiniest bit of yellow. We've all heard, don't eat yellow snow. And I'm going to add a little more white to that. I want to warm it up. I want the lights coming this way. I want this snow right in here to be a little brighter. And out in here. All of this that's down here, I'm going to leave it darker. Up here, I'm going to try to get it right there in the very end. Very light touch. Now, I'm rinsing this brush out. I have another smaller brush, but it's a bristle brush just like these. And these were natural bristle brushes. These are not, I have never found a good synthetic bristle brush ever. I have never found a bristle brush in a pack of bristle brushes that I like. Now, I have found synthetics in packs that I like. I have never found a synthetic bristle brush. I don't like anything that I've found. And I'm just tapping in some, and again, I'm going to pick up just the tiniest bit of yellow. I mean, you can't hardly even see it on my brush. And mixing it in with some white over here. Just trying to get some highlights in that snow to where it sort of sparkles. Now you could put some, like on some of the branches here. I'm just touching and pulling. That looks kind of cool. Kind of like it almost, the wind blew it there. Here's, you have to be very light when you're doing that. Very light, because you can always add more, but once you get too much, it's really hard to get that off. Okay? There we go. We've got some snow on our branch. You can see the various shades. I have used 1, 2, 3, 4, and then some real, just hot white by itself on the very, very tip. That's the only time I ever use one color right out of the tube, is if I need that hot spot, and it won't be very much. It's, you can see it's right there, just a few of them right in there. I wanted that one piece. I want your eye to go right there. Now we could have put in more ornaments. We could have put in more, more branches. You could have put another ornament maybe hanging down here. So you could have had 2. You could take your script liner and some white paint and write joy or a child's name or whatever on there. You can use this in any number of ways. But so now you know how to do the pine. Actually, we did the stick first. Remember, we did the wood part. Then we put the needles on there, and it's in various shades of green. We started with dark and came lighter. So there was at least 4 values in green. Then we put in the ornament, and the ornament itself is red, but there's red, there's it's alizarin crimson, there's cad red light, there is purple in this side of it, and then this has some white with a little bit of yellow in it to get that highlight to where it looks like it's round and it's glowing and it's shiny. And then the snow, again, 4 variations, 4 values in that snow to make it look like it's real snow. So I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll get back on our regular schedule. I did this as kind of a gift for you all. I wanted to give you something that you could use in your homeschools and in your own painting that would be useful. And this is just kind of fun for this time of year. So thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful day, and let's paint together real soon.